Parents, can I ask you a question? Why is it that your daughter can kill it in practice, and then when it comes to the game, when it really matters, she completely falls apart? When it's time for tryouts, when scouts are there watching her. She's physically prepared. She's spent so much time at practice. She trains harder than almost anyone. She has the skill. So, what changes? I have the answer. And I think honestly, parents have been sold one of the biggest lies in youth sport. Hi, I'm Kirsty McMillan. I'm a mental performance coach, and I work with elite female athletes who are chasing D1 scholarships and Olympic dreams. I've worked with over 250 elite athletes all over the world. And myself, I'm training for the World Championships, my fourth one this coming year. And I've noticed something. Almost everyone pretty much agrees that the mental side of sports is somewhere around 70, 80, even 90% of performance. And of the four domains of high performance, you have physical, technical, tactical, mental. The mental controls all of the other three. So it is definitely a high percentage. But then no one is teaching them how to train the mental side. They're not teaching it in schools, and their physical coaches aren't teaching it either. Imagine you had an elite team and the coaches were just leaving the physical skills up to chance and let the kids figure it out. That would never happen. So why are we doing that with the mental side of things, especially when it's so important? I've been racing internationally for about 5 years now. Once I did my mental performance certification, it suddenly dawned on me that I could be using these skills on myself. I have definitely found, as I'm getting prepared right now for Italy in October of this year, I used to get so nervous leading up to races, really hard time sleeping the few nights before a race, high anxiety once I got to the race, basically thinking about all of the wrong things. My mind would especially wander in the middle of a race, thinking about how tired I was or how sore I was, thinking about the competition that was on the starting line with me, none of which is helpful. Now, when I'm getting ready for World Championships, at the beginning of each piece of my training session, I would practice. What am I going to do on the starting line? What am I going to be telling myself? What am I going to be focused on? It's something when I'm working with athletes, I call the ABCs of focus. It's something that you decide ahead of time is really important to your performance. And those are the three things that you're going to repeat to yourself right before the game or the race starts. It helps keep your focus on the right things, keep it from wandering to stuff that doesn't matter and is actually going to hurt your performance. So when I'm using these exact drills that I teach my athletes, the whole goal of it is for them to go into a competition mentally prepared. And that way, all of that physical training that they're doing can shine through. When your daughter is practicing, she's perfectly free. Nobody's watching her. She can go for it. She's not afraid to make a mistake. In game time, if she thinks that there are pressures on her, scouts watching, coaches watching, she simply doesn't have the mental skills to deal with that. Let's take a second and let's just think of all of the physical skills involved in your daughter's sport. Most likely, speed, strength, power, their shot, their at bat, their serve. All of the physical things that their current coaches are showing them. Now let's take a peek at mental skills: awareness, focus, growth mindset, their ability to reset after a mistake, the routines that they have. What are their habits outside of the game itself that are helping them to become the athlete that they want to become? Visualization, which is a massive piece of the puzzle if they want to get to the elite level. Being able to control what they can control. And as you can see, I've run out of room. So these are all the mental skills needed to play at the highest level possible. And my question is I'm sure they have a coach working with them on the physical stuff, but who is helping them with all of this stuff? They're not teaching it in school. Their physical coach is focused on the physical stuff. They're not teaching this kind of stuff. These are the things that are going to differentiate a good athlete from a great athlete. When they get to Olympic trials, or when that scout is coming to watch them for a D1 scholarship, if they don't have these skills, there's no way that they are going to be able to manage the pressure of the big moment. So parents, of the physical and mental sides, which one do they practice every single day? And which one are we just hoping they show up with? We assume because your daughter is working so hard on the physical side that the mental skills will just sort of show up and come, but they don't. They're a completely different, separate skill set. And they're really important to differentiate her from all of the other athletes out there who are also putting in time into the physical side. So I have a story for you about Simona. She is my very first athlete when I became a mental performance coach. She was barely on a Division 1 team, a little bit quiet, and definitely in her head a lot about mistakes and what the coaches were thinking and things like that. After being a part of her coaching team, so this current year, she had scouts from a few universities come to watch her play. 6 months ago, even though we talked about it, of what she should be thinking about and focused on, things that the scout would really be looking for. Is she a good team player? Is she skilled? Yes. More importantly, can she reset after a mistake? Does she keep going after it, or does she shy back and not play as hard? Is she a good communicator with her teammates? Does her body language stay strong through the whole game as opposed to being on a roller coaster of emotions? Even though we talked about this, when the scout was there, she was completely in her head. She couldn't stop thinking about the scout watching her. She simply didn't play well. She was really disappointed afterwards. We talked about it. And then a couple months later, another scout came to watch her play. And this time, because she had had a little bit of a practice run on what mentally to be focused on, this time she killed it. The coach that came to watch her from the university was so impressed. She got offered a spot on their team. But here's the really cool part. I was talking with her mom one day, and she said, guess what? Simona had an interview to get into the engineering program at the hardest university in Canada to get into. She said, normally, before you started working with her, Simona would have been completely in her head, worried about what was going to happen, not able to sleep a few nights before the interview. She said, Simona was amazing. She was sleeping great. And her mom said when she asked her, she said, you know what? I've got this. I prepared all of my answers as best as I can. I am not going to worry about any other questions because I know I can handle them and answer them. And she got a spot in the program. I love hearing about when my athletes are using these mental skills, even without realizing it in life. So if you're watching your daughter play really well in practice and then it falls apart in a game when there's pressure on her, this is exactly what I help train athletes with. I coach them on the mental side of sport, just the way they've been spending so much time on the physical side. If you'd like to chat about whether or not my 90-day mentorship program is a good fit for your daughter, click on the link below to see if I can help her the same way that I helped Simona. I'd love to meet you.